Okay, guys, welcome back to day 5 of gravitation. In yesterday's class, I remember discussing about the gravitational field of different bodies. I hope you remember all the values, but you don't really need all the values, especially need the values of point mass. Like I said, a ring, that too for an axial point only. For a ring, all you need the field is on the axial point only. For a hollow sphere, for a hollow sphere inside point and outside point, and also a solid sphere inside point and outside point. Can somebody give me all the values? Raise your hand and give me all the values. Can somebody do that if you remember all of them? Yeah, Vamshi, go ahead.
So the point mass GMR by A square plus
It
R.
in, for a point mass,
Yes, sir.
gm by
R by
r square, that's it. For a point mass, the value is gm by r square, that's it. Why are you giving all the random values? It's a simple mass. This is the first point that we just taught. For a ring, the field value, Aditya,
So GDM upon
MD
uh,
by
R square plus D square whole power to 3 by 2.
all power 3 by 2. That is the field for that. Hollow sphere, inside point,
GM R square, sir.
ED,
Inside point is 0, sorry. Inside point is
inside
0.
inside 0.
0, and outside the field is
GM by R
GMR
square.
square.
GM by R square. Now solid sphere, the field inside,
GM by A cube
GMR.
R, sir.
GM
Yes, sir.
by R cube into small r. Let us say small r
Yes,
is a distance. Outside, it is basically GM
GM
by
by
R
R
square.
square.
GMR square only, sir.
I want you all to remember these values. These, like, remembering these values will help a lot doing a lot of problems. You can't sit and again derive these values in the exam, right? So it is very important that you simply just remember these values. I in fact have a method, like I ask people most of the time to make a table out of it, like this point, a ring, hollow sphere, solid sphere. It's not just the field values, also the graphs, also the graphs, how the values actually vary from one point to another point. So it's not just the field values, also the graphs. I ask them to make where the graph goes like in this situation the field is basically gm by r square. So it's like the field is very high to a close point, and as we move on to infinity it decreases. So this is how the graph looks like in between gravitational field and r. Okay. And next comes E is GMD by root or R square plus T square per 3 by 2. I don't remember the graph, but I'll try to draw it. The field is 0 at the center, and the distance is D. It is between E and D, the distance from the center. Like when for a ring, okay, where is the page? For a ring, if this is D, why did it go all the way down there? Anyway, so the field is at the center 0, it increases, and as we move on it decreases. So like for a ring, if you take the field at this point is 0, the field at infinity is also 0, but somewhere in the middle the field is very high. It's like the graph goes like this and comes down like this. Even on the other side also, but the other side they draw it like this because the field is on negative, like negative value. So if I have to draw the other side graph, I'll have to draw it like this. If they simply ask the magnitude, you simply draw them positive. But if they are asking the value itself, the gravitational field itself, it is better you draw the negative values. All right. Now the next one, hollow sphere. Inside it is 0. Outside it is gm by r square only. So the graph looks similar to this only after a point. That's only. Before that, the field is 0. After some point, it exactly looks like this. Let's just say somewhere around that. Okay. Hello, Karanjan, whatever. Random people are coming. Okay, so after a specific point, the field suddenly decreases. And then the last point E is GM d by r cube and then GM by r square. Again, the graph goes in a funny way. E between r up to r, the field actually linearly increasing with distance. You see this? So it linearly increases and then decreases. Yes, try to remember these ideas. Try to remember these points. They are really important. The graphs are really important. I did not just teach them for fun. Clearly observe the field is just decreasing all the way. Here the field increases up to a point and then decreases. In a hollow sphere, the field inside is zero. Outside, it is just behaves like a point mass. For a solid sphere, it linearly increases, and after a point, it decreases. So this is how you need to remember, and all these ideas are going to help us solve a lot of problems in lot of problems where you have to solve. Let me just show you some problems. Why not? A solid sphere, let us say planet Earth itself, and there is a hole dug, a tiny thin hole. It did not change any mass, and I put a small particle here. What is a field, first of all? Here, what is a field? The distance from the center is, let us just say this as r by 4. Now we are talking about a point. Ouch, wait a second, my leg has gone numb. We are talking about a point inside a hollow, sorry, solid sphere. Since it is a planet, you can consider it as a solid sphere. Guys, remember, solid spheres are not, sorry, planets are not exactly solid spheres. I know the densities vary and there are a lot of problems, but most of the planets, when we solve all the problems, we simply consider them as solid spheres only. Sharad, do you have a doubt?
No, sir, I wanted to say the same thing, so they're hollow.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're thick.
What?
They're thick but hollow. Planets, sir.
Planets, in fact, in a way, they are hollow. Like there's a lot of emptiness inside, but it's like consider that all the planets are solid spheres only. Okay, all the planets are basically solid spheres. That is why we consider and do the problems. So we are talking about a point which is inside a solid sphere at a distance r by 4. So how do I write the field? I have the formula inside a solid sphere gm by r cube into small r, distance d from the center. So how much is this? Gm by r cube into the distance is r by 4. And this is how I find the field inside any point. Okay. In HC Verma, there are questions about this thing where they have a solid sphere and they ask a field at different points, a hole dug along the line, and they ask a field here or here or here or here. All these points are basically inside points. If they ask a field here, it's an outside point. So you can basically write the outside field. There is a problem in HC Verma where they make a hole along this thing. Along some random point. Along some random, what do you call them as? You can you call it as a chord? For a circle it is, but I'm not sure if you can call it as that for a sphere. But there's a hole dug like that and a point mass placed here. Guys, they give you a distance here. This distance is mentioned. They will definitely give this. And also this distance also mentioned something like r by 4. What is a field here?
Sir, I have a doubt, sir,
Yeah,
regarding
tell
the
me.
previous one.
Yeah.
Sir, practically it won't be possible to dig a hole through the center, right?
It
Because
is
the
not.
gravity at the
No,
center
it's
will
not.
be
It's
way
not.
too strong.
It's not possible. This is just a theoretical question. That's what it is. Okay.
Yes, I had that doubt.
Yeah. So the field at this point is
Sir,
towards the center. And how do you
yes,
write? Yeah, who's that?
sir, Aditya, sir, I got this answer. Like
Yeah,
how to do.
but let me. Okay, like how do you decide? How do you give the value?
So normal only, sir. Just we have to, if you observe, it is a right angle triangle. So we just need to find the length of hypotenuse and directly
Exactly.
use the
Guys,
formula implication
when you
of D.
solve this problem, like you have the formula of gm by r cube into d, where d is the distance from the center. Please don't put it as r by 4. The distance from
Yes,
the
sir.
center
We need
is
that
this.
hypotenuse.
Okay, this is the distance from the center, which is root over x square plus r by 4 whole square. You put this value here and write the field. And they're not just done with that. In that problem, they also ask one more thing in the planet. Since the field is acting here, in this direction, they ask two components. There are two components. One field is like this, the other field is like this.
Yes, sir.
Guys, clearly observe, because of this horizontal component, E horizontal, nothing's going to happen in this direction. Even if there is field, it will be just stopped by the wall of the hole itself. Only the vertical component is going to accelerate the body. So they ask you what is the component which is just creating a normal force. So you're talking about horizontal component. What is the component which is accelerating the body, which is the vertical component? Guys, can some Aditya, Sharath, you guys tell me, if you know how to find E, how do you find the gravitational force?
Oh, gravitation, we just multiply it.
I hope you know that, because we defined gravitational field as force by mass. So
Yeah.
every time
Yes,
they
sir.
ask you the gravitational force, if you have field, you simply multiply it with mass. Okay, so let us say I give you a problem saying a ring and a point mass present here. I simply write the field because of the ring here, multiply this mass is nothing but the force, is
Force.
nothing but the force acting on the
Yeah.
point mass. I hope you know that. Okay, guys, I'm not just allowing anyone anymore. Lokesh Naik, I don't know who that is.
Sir,
Yeah,
he is a student, sir.
what?
Sir, he's a student, sir. Like, I remember that
I
name.
don't know. I just kicked him out anyway. So what was I saying? I forgot where I was again. So yeah,
Force is equal
whenever you
to,
want to find the force, you simply multiply it with the mass. So in this problem, especially in HC Verma, they ask you the force by the walls. So you find this field component and you multiply it with mass, obviously. So you'll get two forces. If you have force, you take the component Fx and Fy. Fx is nothing but the force against the wall, if they ask it. Okay, and Fx is the force which creates a linear force, the linear acceleration. That's all. So it is quite easy to do this problem, solve this problem. It's not a big deal. The problems get complicated when I'll just discuss a very problem that is there in HC Verma. Let me show it. Anyone uses GarageBand? Yeah, let me show one more problem. Look at problem number 10. I hope problem number 10 is like really easy. Two concentric spherical shells, mass 1, force exerted by the system of, like he's talking about, in the problem number 10, he's simply talking about one thing. Like there are two hollow spheres. One is of radius r1, the other is of radius r2. Mass is m1, mass is m2. He's talking about the field at some random point here. How do you do it? How do you find the field at that specific point?
sir,
Sharath?
we take separate, sir, we take separate fields, like the field of the first shell and then of the second one.
Yeah, it is easy, but one important point is, let us write field E1 because of the inner sphere. Field E2 is because of the outer sphere. But isn't it clearly evident that there shouldn't be any field because of the outer sphere, right?
Yes, sir.
Because for the outer sphere it's an inside point, so need to do is only write the field because of the inner sphere r1 m1. So all I have to do is write the field because of this point only, that's all. For the inner mass only, we don't have to do anything with the outer mass. All right, so that is quite easy. All you have to do is this. All right, guys. Now, after this, there is another problem in HC Verma which is quite interesting. This problem, 13th, I find it really interesting. So what they say in this problem is, this is a hollow sphere and this is a solid sphere. They ask the field at different points like this. Let me show it one by one. They ask the field at this point and this point and this point at this point at this point, different points. Now, as long as I talk about inside points, I can completely forget about the outside sphere. All I have to do is take that little sphere, find the fields at different points, inside points. The minute I talk about the outside point, if I talk about the outside point, then I can take the both the spheres. Otherwise, I don't have to take it. So he talks about different distances here, like option A, option B, option C, question A, question B, question C. They give you different distances and ask you to find the fields at all the points. You be careful when you do this problem. This is an interesting one. Don't spoil this. And this also, again, 14th. Again, there is a uniform metal sphere of radius is surrounded by a thin shell. So this is a solid one. This is a solid sphere. And outside is a hollow sphere. They ask you fields at two points, P1 and P2, maybe more points if you want. At P1, you don't even have to worry about what do you say, the outside sphere. Oh, you only write the field because of the inside sphere, which is just E1. But at this point, you have to write both E1 and E2, both inner sphere and outer sphere, and it's as simple as that. Okay, I want you to try these problems once. They're all easy. 15th is not exactly that easy, but this is not a strange problem at all. This is a very simple problem built out of logic. You don't have to do mathematics to do this problem. I want you to build some logic to solve the problem number 15. All right, guys, I want you to simply build a logic to solve this question out of logic, 15th question. Now, if we are done with 15th and then 16th, 17th, they're all dependent on potential energy, I guess, 17th, 18th and all potential energies. They're quite easy to do. So let me just wrap up the idea of gravitational field. Whenever you simply ask the gravitational field because of different bodies, you all have the formulas for all the bodies. You have a point mass, a ring, hollow sphere, and solid sphere. You have all the values for all the bodies, so you don't really have to do anything. All you need to just remember these values and do some problems, and you'll get a lot of clarity. Now, there is another problem in HC Verma. Do you want me to discuss that one? Okay, the problem already involves potential. Let me introduce you to the idea of gravitational potential also. It's time, I guess, we introduce you to the idea of gravitational potential. Now, the idea of gravitational potential is, it might not make sense to you at this point, like, because you don't really see a reason why we define the gravitational potential. It's not potential energy, guys, please follow. Potential energy is over. We are not talking about gravitational potential energy. We are only talking about gravitational potential. That's all. Now, what exactly is gravitational potential? Why do we need to define a potential? Let me show it to you. First of all, let me define it for you and then show you why it is. Okay, let me define it for you. So gravitational potential is defined such a way that whenever there is this mass m and they put a test mass, again a small mass, test mass, if you remember this test mass, they say the gravitational potential V is defined at this point as the potential energy of test mass per unit test mass. It might completely look similar to you. It might look similar to you. I'm going to write the potential energy, which is minus gmm by r by the mass itself. So the test mass is gone. The potential is defined as minus gm by r. The potential is defined as minus gm by r, which means forget the test mass there. I'm already simply saying Whenever I have a mass, I'm saying at this point there is a potential minus gm by r. I don't need a test mass to say it. I already am saying this potential is minus gm by r. Now it's not just that, the potential is a scalar quantity, because this is a scalar quantity. If you remember, this is a scalar quantity, so this is a scalar quantity. It doesn't really have any directions, it's just a value. So what about this point which is at the same distance r? What about this point at the same distance r? What about this point at the same distance r? At all those points, the value of potential is minus gm by r only. But what exactly are we looking at? Why are we even defining this potential? Remember how we defined a gravitational field? To define gravitational field, I don't really need any mass. I mean, I need the main mass, the original mass, the capital M. But gravitational field is as if it is claiming how strong it is acting in that space. How it claims how strong it is acting in this space. Gravitational potential is also a similar statement about all this line, about this whole curve. It is stating that the potential is minus gm by r. Let us write this distance as r1. Let us write this distance as r2. So the potential at this point, this whole line is minus gm by r2. Let us say there is another line. The whole potential is minus gm by r3. But what exactly are these things? Like why are we defining at all these lines there is something called potential? What exactly are you claiming? Aditya just wrote a paragraph. Sir, does the body affect the gravitational field strength-wise? Can you write the unit for gravitational potential? Aditya, I don't know what your problem is. We will talk about everything if you only ask me personally. Like raise your hand and ask. So where was I again? Why are we even defining the idea of gravitational potential? Like what is the point? Let me get this point. Take an example. There is a slide in a park. There is a ladder. There's a slide, a ladder. You make a cute little chubby boy sit on the slide. What will happen? Everyone knows that he will eventually simply come downwards. He will eventually come downwards. That is something that we know. He will definitely slip. But do you really need to put him there so that we know that it will slide? No, right? Strictly speaking, even though we don't put a mass there, even though we don't put a mass there, we already know that there is something which will be driving him downwards. So which is like a gravitational field. There will be something that will be driving downwards. And not just that, I can simply say that this is a high level, this is a bit low level, and this is a lower level, and this is a lower level. So I define this is a high potential point. I don't put any mass there. I simply give some value to it, some random value. So this will be a little lower potential value. This will be some lower, even lower. This will be even lower. There is no rule that I have to give 10, 5, 20. Or I can start with 100, say 95, 90, 85. The thing that I'm trying to say is there is this quantity called potential, and this space is of high potential. I'm not putting any mass there. I'm not putting any boy there to sit there. I'm simply saying this is a high potential space. This space is a little lower potential. This space is much lower, and this space is much lower. So as we are moving downwards, the space is getting up lower potential. So the word potential says, the word potential simply letting you know, like it is telling you what the field is telling. In fact, the field is driving the system. So if I put a mass there, he will go in that way. And it's not just the field. So I can explain the strength of the slide. I can explain the strength of the slide explaining either gravitational field. Let us say the gravitational field is very high, 20 units. I can explain it using the gravitational field, or I can explain using the potentials. This is a high potential space, lower, much lower, 75, sorry, 8, 9, after 8, 90, 85, 80. I can explain the slope, the tendency of that slope, either by using the gravitational field or potentials. And in fact, like, let me show you another example. I'll take a slide which is not really that slope, like it doesn't really have that much of slope. You know what happens? The field is present. The field is like very weak, 3 units, because it's not that slopey. It's not really that slope. There isn't a lot of slope there. Karthik, what is it? Karthik, did you raise your hand to make us listen to that song? Okay, thanks. Who was that? That was beautiful. So yeah, now the same slide can be explained saying, let us just say, like, let me show it this way. If the value, the potential is given as 100, here it won't go all the way to 95. Let's just say it goes to 99, 98, 97, 96, 95. You see that the potential variance is not really that steep compared to this thing. Here the potential variance is like 20. It started from 100, it gone all the way down to 80. Here it started from 100, it only gone down to 5. So the potential or the field, you can talk about the steepness, the tendency to pull the bodies. It's not just using the field, also you can talk about in terms of potential too. That is the importance of gravitational potential. I hope you can understand. Please let me know if you didn't understand this point, because I'm going to apply the same idea to, what do you say? The same idea to gravitational bodies, like the bodies in gravitational space. Sharath, what is it?
Sir, could you show the previous slide?
Yeah.
Sir, in the previous slide, sir, for the gravitational potential part, sir, for the bottom one, sir, like there's only 5 different sides, so there should be more potential to pull it, like pull any body.
I don't
Or is
understand
it the
which one.
exact
Like, we're
opposite?
talking about the upper one or the lower one?
Lower one, sir.
Okay.
Since the difference is low, sir, like can we tell that the potential to pull is more than the upper one?
No, 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 no. The difference is less, so it won't pull it that way. It won't pull it that strong. The pull won't be that strong here. The pull obviously will be here, like higher here, right, compared to this space.
No, sir. Like if we won't have the figures and etc. Sir, suppose we have like for the same distance, one is from 100 to 80 and another is from 100 to 95, sir. So practically, the 95 one will be stronger, right? Because it's decreasing at a much slower rate.
Which one is decreasing much steeper? Upper one or the lower one? Which one would you think?
Sir, the upper one is decreasing more, sir.
Upper one is?
Decreasing more,
So
sir. Like
that's what
it's
I'm saying.
decreasing.
This is strong. Like this, there is more pull here compared to this. Sharath, I
Sir,
didn't
it's the
get it.
potential, right, sir?
Yeah, we are
Sir,
talking
it's the
about
potential, right?
potentials. Now, like I already said, it is not about the potential value. It is about the potential difference. Like how steep is it varying? Here it varied from 100 to 80. So there will be a more steep there. Like
Understood, sir. Understood, sir. More the difference, more
more the
potential.
pull. Yeah,
Pull more.
more the difference, more the pull. It's as if like the value is the, it's not about the mass that you put there. It is about that space which has more steepness when in terms of potential. So they will be like steeply pulled, and here they won't be that much of steepness, so it won't be pulled that much. I hope you get that.
Yes, sir. Confused because of the
Yeah.
values.
So let me talk about the masses now. So the potential is defined such a way that I put some mass there, I put some test mass there. Again, I'm just telling you how to do it. I put some test mass there. The potential is minus G, potential energy is minus GMM by R. This is the potential energy, if you remember. To write the potential, I write U by the test mass. So minus GMM by R by M. They cancel out. So minus GM by R. All right. So Wait a second, I need to. So minus Gm by R is the potential. Okay, so that is how you write the potential. Let me show you another example. So all these lines, the entire space, entire line, this entire line has a specific potential. Let us say the distance is 5. So the minus Gm by 5 is the potential here. Let us say the distance is 10 here. So minus Gm by 10. Let's say the distance is 15. So minus Gm by 15 is the potential here. So the potential keeps varying according to the distance. Now clearly observe, this is the highest value here. Now you might get confused here. Yes, it has the highest number in denominator. So it makes it the least number, but there is minus. So this is the highest potential point, a little lower, a little lower. The potential is actually decreasing, coming down. So that is why when I put a mass here, it will come down this way. Yeah, I can explain it using the gravitational field also, but yeah, tell me, what is it, Aditya?
Sir, like you told, this gravitational potential is a scalar quantity.
Yeah.
So what does this minus signify here, sir?
The minus signify what? I already told you why is there a minus. We actually, like, I can explain it using the mathematics. Mathematically, when I did that, you got a minus. And
Yes, sir, but
also, if you don't put the minus, all the values are actually like the potential is not decreasing this direction. The minus, like, first of all, I already told you these values have no significance. The value of 100, 95, 90, 85, 80, they don't have any significance. Okay,
yes, sir.
it's a difference that has a significance. Always
Okay, the
remember the
delta.
point. It is a difference that has a significance. So it doesn't really matter if it's a negative value. It is negative. I'll tell you one more way. It came negative because at infinity I took it as 0. At infinity the potential is always considered as 0.
Yes, sir.
But from the infinity the potential has to be lesser, right? Because like I said, the bodies always move to lesser potential ways. So I
Okay.
put a capital mass here, and at infinity there is a test mass. And I already said at infinity the potential is 0.
Yes, sir.
For the mass to come closer, the potential has to be lesser, right?
Okay, yes, sir, yes,
So
sir.
that
Yes,
is
sir.
why you're actually moving into negative values now.
Oh, because mostly in vectorially we used to understand like minus is the direction. So how could we understand
No.
minus
It
is
is
scalar
not like that. It is just the at infinity I considered potential as 0. If only
It's
at
just a
infinity
direction.
you consider the potential as 1 2 power 10 to the power of 5 or something like that. There will be some positive values, and there comes a point where there is a 0 potential, and from that point there will be negative values.
Yes, sir.
From that point there will be negative values, but we didn't do that. We simply considered at infinity the potential is 0. So from that point onward the potentials keep decreasing. Okay, now it is not mandatory that I write the potential as 0. Sometimes I give you a problem where the potential here is 25. You can't blame me that. There is totally fine. You can totally happily write the value is 25 here, the value is 20 here, the value is 15 here. You can happily write that. Okay, you're clearly indicating that there is some mass here which is being, I mean, like which is creating some fields here. You can happily do that. I wanted to practically understand the importance of potentials and fields. Now once you understand this, we'll move on to the next idea. Do you understand it clearly, guys? Please let me know. Sharath.
Sir, smaller, sir, why isn't the potential important, sir?
You will find it important in the further topics, like when there comes some topics where you will be needing potential more than field. Now you understand the importance that you can explain the behavior of that pullingness using fields or using potentials. Both look the same way, right? They don't really make much difference, right?
Yes,
Sharath.
sir.
Yeah. But in future, you will be coming across some topics where you will need potential more than field. So that is why we need that. Okay.
Sir, my doubt was why is potential difference valued more than potential,
Oh,
sir?
right.
Like,
We will come to that. Now, first of all, guys, I want you to understand that all the line, this line and this line and this line. So if I say the potential around this line, as entire line is 25, you take any point on this line, all the points, the potential is equal. So you call this as an equipotential line. An equipotential line of value 25. Now this whole line is again another equipotential line, but here the potential is 20. This whole line is another equipotential line where the potential is 10. There is a, sorry, not 10, 15 maybe. There is a reason why I'm decreasing, because there is a mass here, which means all the little masses will be pulled in this direction. So the potential has to come down. Now coming to the point that Sharath asked, I'm going to take some example. I'm directly going to draw a diagram. You'll clearly understand that. I'm going to take 1 kg mass. I'm going to take 200 kg mass. I'm going to draw some equipotential lines around it. I'm going to write some equipotential lines around it. They are not relevant to each other. They're like far away. Since I don't have infinite space here, I am only drawing it on the space. Now I'm going to write the potentials and you will clearly understand, Sharath. The value here is, let us start with 100, 98, 96. The values here, if I start it at 100, I have to put it down to 60. I have to put it down to 20. Do you see the difference, Sharath, now?
Yes, sir.
Because the 200 kg mass is pulling it very strong, the steepness must be high. The difference must be really high. You have to represent the difference very high to represent the steepness, because of the strength of the mass. The 200 kg mass will be pulling it very strong compared to 1 kg mass. You see the difference? You don't really see that much of steepness here, do you?
Yes. No,
You
sir.
understand that, right, Sharath?
Yes, sir. Understood,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Why don't I show you that thing? We have some graphs for this. I've already shown it to your seniors for electric potentials. Where is the tab? Can anybody see that? Yeah, I find it. So gravitational potential. I'll show you the potential diagram, which is quite an interesting one. Okay, we'll see the electric potential one, but try to imagine the gravitation potential one out of it. Yep, I'll make one of the charges 0 so that you don't have any problem. Yeah, now look at the other charge. The blue lines that you're seeing here is the potential lines. You can understand it that way. If only I increase the charge here, you see the steepness, you see how it is changing, right? The lines that you're seeing right now are basically the steepness. Let me reposition it. You can simply imagine this is how the steepness is represented. This is not how it actually is, but this is how the steepness is imagined. Let's just say I don't put any mass there. There won't be any steepness. There won't be any pull. But if I increase the mass, you see how the space is clearly getting deformed, how it is creating that steepness. This is just a way to understand the potential values, the equipotential view. But if you don't understand this part, it's totally fine. You don't really have to understand this part. It's just I'm trying to show you how these masses are pulling. Like if only I put these charges, these masses there in that graph, 200 will be pulling, like creating a much more steeper space. 1 kg won't create that much of steepness. That is how it is. Sharath, do you get the idea of the difference between the potentials now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, let me move on to the next idea. Not next idea, but until now you only looked at how the potentials and fields are linked. Why don't I give you 1 or 2 problems so that you can clearly see the difference in between? Zaid, what is it?
Sir, is the difference regular or irregular for
we
everybody?
will come to that point. Like the differences whether they will be regular or irregular will be decided by the mathematics of this topic. We will get to that point when we discuss the mathematics of it. But for now, I'm asking you to completely practically feel this topic. Okay, until now.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me draw some potential lines, and you people tell me which way the direct gravitational field is. These are some equipotential lines. Here the value is 100, 120, 140, 160, 180. Can somebody tell me in which direction the field is, the gravitational field? Raise your hands and tell me if you want. The gravitational field direction. Sharath, Aditya.
From
The left
180
hand
to
side, sir.
100.
Towards the left, because the potentials are decreasing towards the left direction. You get it? I'm going
Yes.
to draw the same kind of potential lines, but let me show you something. 100, 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. Now, which direction the fields are?
So same, sir. Left
Same.
hand side.
Still left, but what's the difference?
Now,
So
like
there's no difference.
this potential is high, sir. Potential difference is
Exactly. Now,
high.
not the potential is high. It is the field that
The
is really
potential
high now.
difference.
The field is which is really high. That is why I've drawn more lines now. You see the difference?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Let me draw another space for another diagram.
So, do we have a relation for gravitational field and potential?
That is what we're going to do.
Mathematically.
That is what we're going to derive. Yes, we definitely do have a relation between those two. That is the reason why it is so important. Okay, guys, I'm going to put some potential values: 20, 30, 40, 50, 20, 60, 100, 140. Which
But
one
the
has
first
a
one-
higher mass?
Sir, down one, sir.
Down one,
The
sir.
down one. The
Down
second
one
diagram we
definitely
have.
has the higher mass. Here the mass must be a smaller one. So if we definitely are clear
The
that the
field is
field
strong
lines
in the
will be
down one,
like
so we
that,
can say mass is high.
but here the field lines will be definitely strong. Oh, shit. Field lines are definitely stronger in this case. And I can clearly say, looking at the potential lines, this will be like somewhat like a 1 kg mass. This will be somewhat like, it looks much stronger, more like 2-3 times stronger. So I'll put somewhere around 4 kgs maybe. I'm not giving the values. I'm not calculating these values. I'm just randomly giving these values. But I'm just asking you to understand. When a 1 kg mass is there, this is how the potential varies. When there is a 4 kg mass, this is how the potentials vary. Now, once you understand this bit, now let us go to the mathematics of it. Like Zaid asked, is there actually a relation how the potential and the field is related? Okay, let's look at that. We've already defined something that force by mass is gravitational field. And on
Yes,
the
sir.
other hand, potential by mass is potential. Potential energy by mass is potential. We've already known this relation.
Yes, sir.
Can we not relate these two? Like, do we not see the relation already here?
Yes, sir. I can write like F upon
So
E
U
is
by
equal
V is
to
equal to F by
Basically, U
U
is
upon
nothing
V,
but
sir.
minus FDR. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
U potential
Yes,
energy
sir.
is nothing but minus FDR. So by mass simply gives us a potential equals to minus EDR. Such a stupid way to bring a relation, because this is one of the biggest relations in physics, the entire physics. I'm not even kidding. This is one of those Maxwell's equations when we're talking about electric fields. Okay, but since we're not talking about electric fields, don't bring Maxwell here. This is just the relation between a gravitational potential and a gravitational field. A gravitational potential and gravitational field. You can write it this way, or you can also send this minus this direction and write minus dV by dr equals to E. This relation are exactly the same. I hope you're seeing the point. Like, it's as if I remove the integral sign and you can mathematically relate these two things, right? So d minus dou v by dou r equals to E, and this statement simply states one thing, that the rate at which the potential is varying, the rate at which is the potential is varying is giving us electric field, sorry, the gravitational field. And the minus symbol means the rate at which the potential decreasing, the rate at which the potential decreasing is nothing but the gravitational field. So the rate at which, again, we already know this practically, the rate at which the potential is decreasing was defining the gravitational field here. Here the rate at which the gravitational field was decreasing high. So obviously gravitational field is high. Again, here in this case, the rate at which the gravitational potential decreasing, the rate at which the gravitational potential decreasing is clearly defining the gravitational field. So guys, remember this idea, minus dou v by dou r is gravitational field. R you can simply write. So whenever they give, this is such a stupid way to introduce these ideas to you, but I find it really practical for you to understand. Okay, but once we get into the mathematics of it, we'll slowly get a hold of it. For now, please try to understand the practicality of this equation. The rate at which the potential is decreasing is nothing but representing the gravitational field, and the opposite of it, it's like the inverse of it. Okay, now if you understand the practicality of this equation, the introduction in a practical way, we are going to look at the problems that involve the potential and field tomorrow in the tomorrow's topic. Like you can definitely look at these problems for today. The 19th problem, the rate at which the field is varying and potential only, it is defined on that only. I'm not sure if you can do it. Like 19th I will discuss maybe tomorrow. Next comes the problems. Yeah, all these problems 20, 21, 22, all these problems are related to that only. So if you try that if you want, but I'll explain them tomorrow anyway. All right, so just regarding
Till where
today's
we have
class, yeah,
till where we have to try, sir?
if you really want to try, you can try up to 21. That's all. There is only 3 questions in this thing. In DPP there might be more questions regarding potential and field. This is just like a practical introduction to potential today. Okay, I just want you to guys to practically feel it. I'm sure you all got it. Like whoever talked to me right now, you all responded very well. You clearly got the idea of potential. What exactly is potential doing? You clearly got the point. So yeah, tomorrow we'll get into the mathematics of it. So before I end the today's class, is there any other doubt that
Yes, sir. I have one
yeah,
doubt,
yeah,
sir.
tell me.
So once can you scroll up to the very first pages of today's class?
All the way. Okay.
Yeah, all the way up,
Yeah.
sir. While you are drawing graphs, sir, once again, can you get that
Draw
graphs?
graphs. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Graphs for this, what we say, this ring, na, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
At what point is that high, sir? Like at what distance can we say that it is very
Why
high?
don't you find out what is distance where you find the maximum gravitational field? You already know the formula. GMD by let's not call it D, let's call it as X.
Yes, sir.
Just call it as X, okay? Root or sorry, not root or R square plus X square whole power 3 by 2.
By 2. Sir.
You have this field differentiated with respect to X. Why do we do that? To find the maxima during
Okay.
Aditya?
Yes, sir. Now I got it. We will
Yeah,
find the slope at where it is 0 and yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So differentiate it with equate it to 0. You will find the point at which the field is maximum. I think it comes around as R by root 2. As far as I remember, it could be a different value if you
I
calculate.
will try once.
You-
I will try once.
why don't you do it and find it? Okay.
Yes, sir. And one more thing, sir.
Tell me.
So what is the units for this gravitational potential?
Can you not find it? We've already
No,
done
sir.
enough to find it. Like you have all the values to find the units. So why don't you do it?
No, sir. I did trying it, but I am not satisfied with my answer, sir.
What
Like,
was
it's
the
like
answer?
It's like in kg meter square something it came, sir.
It will actually come like that.
Oh, okay.
It might even come in terms of newtons and meters. That's all.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So
I will try once more.
Zahid, what is it?
Sir, in the gravitational field, there was a sphere inside another sphere.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
didn't we take the bigger the solid sphere one? Why didn't we take the gravitational field?
Which problem are you talking about?
Yeah,
13?
13th one. Yeah, 13th one. We took the smaller sphere. We did the gravitational field, but why not the bigger one?
Because for the bigger one, all the points that I considered right here, all the points that I considered here are inside points, right? Do you remember for a hollow sphere, inside points, gravitational
Okay,
field
they
is 0?
don't matter. Oh yeah, okay.
That is why I didn't consider. For all the points which are inside, we don't have to consider the outer sphere. Okay.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, we took 180, 160 values now, sir. If the values in between up and down, sir, 180 and again
Which means
190.
there is another mass in between. It cannot go up and down. Okay. If it is
Okay.
going up and down, which clearly means, let us say, let me show it. Okay. Let me draw some potential lines. Let's just say I have 100, 80, 60, 40. Again, I found them as like 40, 60, 80, 100, which clearly means the gravitational fields are in this direction here, and the gravitational fields are in this direction here, which indicates there must be some mass here. Otherwise, it won't happen. There must be some mass creating the gravitational field such way. So it is happening. You get that?
Okay, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's a good doubt. Thanks
Thank you,
for
sir.
asking. Zaid again? Zaid, you
No. Sorry, I forgot to raise
Yeah,
my
yeah.
hand down.
So that's it, guys. That's it for today. Enough understanding. Why don't you watch this class again? You get more understanding about it. And we will definitely talk about all the mathematics of this potential and fields tomorrow. All right. So thanks so much. And let's meet again tomorrow. And
Thank you, sir.
bye-bye.